Hello, everyone, and welcome to our inaugural CMEpalooza Company Spotlight, where we will be shining the spotlight today on educational measures. So we thank everyone for joining us to kind of see what this is all about. And hopefully this will be both a chance to learn a little bit about educational measures, as well as to kind of get some sense into what's going on with audience response technology and how it's being used in continuing medical education today. So Derek, you want to go ahead forward? So there's a couple ways to ask questions during today's broadcast. You can use our text line. The number there is 267-666-0CME. That's not an O, that's a 0 CME. For those who are watching this in the Google Hangout window, you can click on the Q&A link located at the bottom of the video. Although you will need to have a Google Plus and or Gmail address to ask a question. And you can also tweet your question using the CMEpalooza hashtag. So we'll be keeping an eye on all three of those areas as we are going forward with today's broadcast. So I did want to now introduce our panel. So we are joined today by Mark Crawford, who is sporting the troll haircut. Mark is the president of Educational Measures, and we are also joined by Mark Garcia. Mark is actually the only one of these who's a veteran of CMEpalooza. He presented during our spring meeting. Mark is the director of client services. And we also have Tyler Nelson. Tyler is a product manager. And finally, we have Alex Rudder-Voorhees, who is the senior manager of data services. I didn't get it right, did I, Alex?
You did not. That's all right.
So before we start talking a little bit about educational measures, I wanted Mark to kind of explain a little bit about why he is wearing his purple hair today.
I wear this every day. This is just my normal outfit. You like this? This is the business in front and party in the back. That's what I got going on. So I just wanted to raise awareness for pancreatic cancer research. We're the presenting sponsor of a race this Sunday for the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. It's a 5K race, and this is something that's very dear and personal to us. The first employee I actually hired about 12 years ago was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer about 3 years ago, and he's been fighting that ever since, and he's having a good battle. And we're here to support him and raise awareness about it. We got a medical community on the Hangout today, so I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the disease. There's survival rates are low. There's not a lot of ability to pre-screen. It's usually spread by that point. So we're here just to support him, and I'm wearing my funky purple haircut here because that's the color they use for the research and the organization. So that's what we're about. I just wanted to put this on. I'm going to be taking it off. I know you guys are going to be envious, but whoop, there we go. Now we're back. Now we're back to business. Now my hair's looking really good though now. So.
Okay, well, great. Thanks, Mark. So let's kind of jump right in, and maybe you can start off by telling us a little bit about the history of educational measures, how you guys started, and how you guys have evolved over the years.
Sure. It's a nice segue from that last comment I made. We started about 12 years ago when we hired our first employee. We started out as a company doing kind of basic commodity ARS services, AV services. The company evolved because people came to us and said, you're collecting data, but we want to do something more with it. And so we started to build out analysis tools, educational track being one of them, where you can put a lot of your outcomes data in there, pre-post test, allow us to follow up with participants after the activities. So the company evolved just based on the needs of our clients, really. And from there, over the last 3-4 years, we've been building out our Array iPad technology, which really steps up engagement. We'll talk about that in a moment. But once again, that was something that our clients were asking for, was we really want to engage people more and get better data. So that was something that we have created and really has been a big part of our company. So really at the heart of what we're doing. We're using a lot of technology to collect data at different intervals, whether that's before a program, during, or after, and then being able to report back on that. So, the company's grown, and we're pretty happy. CME is a big part of what we do, and really happy with where we are right now.
So obviously, data collection is a big deal in CME. Has been a big deal for a while now. So what exactly do you guys do differently? I mean, how do you collect data in a different manner than perhaps some of the other folks out there? And sort of what makes your company special?
Scott, I think it's a couple different things. It's not just the way we collect data. It's the broad spectrum of products and services overall that we provide here at Educational Measures. So things like scanning, honors response systems, array iPad technologies, those things help us, collect as much data as possible for our clients throughout the whole process. Whether it's a pre-test or post-test or things like that. And then also the enduring piece as well. So that whole suite of collecting that data across the spectrum of any one single activity, then helping our clients analyze that data on the back end, I think makes us a pretty unique company with all those offerings that we have on the table.
Yeah. One of the things to kind of build on that.
Some of those...
I'm sorry. I said one other thing to kind of build on that was the data points now that we can collect using our array technology throughout that activity. You're not having to wait for these certain intervals to collect that data and engage people. We're able to collect that throughout that program, which really kind of allows for better reporting. Just wanted to add that.
Okay. So then what is the array technology? I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to talk a lot about it, but maybe it'll give people a sense right from the start of what exactly you're talking about.
Yeah, the array technology is our iPad technology that we developed about 3 years ago. And what that does, it's a service that we provide for live events where we actually send out a full service offering of the technicians and the iPads to these live meetings. And it helps us collect a lot more data points at any one meeting than, standard ARS is great, and we still do it a lot. But using like a device, a secondary device in front of you, allows us to collect a lot more data by streaming live slides, taking notes, allowing the audience to submit questions, during that live event as well. Really helps us collect that data and tie it back to the needs assessments, the gaps that we found out, from the actual program itself. And within Array, you can do the live polling, you're streaming the live slides, you're submitting questions. So it's an offering where the data points collected just are phenomenal on the back end, allowing a team like Alex to get it back to the clients on the outcomes analysis side of things. So then what components do you find that learners really like to use a lot? And what sorts of things do you find that they perhaps are interacting with on the iPads more than others? Tyler, I'll let you kind of take that one since you seem to be on site a lot at some of these live events.
Yeah, sure. I mean, certainly the participants really enjoy being able to submit questions through our technology. Obviously not every person in the room wants to walk up to a microphone. Certainly you'll have some people that would love to own the microphone. But a vast majority of participants would love to have their question answered and to be able to submit it easily and quickly through the platform. Allows it to be addressed either at the conclusion of the program or even as the question's submitted. We do some programs where our moderator will be looking at questions throughout, and they can respond to questions almost immediately, and that's been a great feature and a great use of the technology. So if you submitted a question and you had to wait, till the end of the program to have it answered, it's nice to have some designs where they can really respond at any time to those questions. That's certainly a strength of it. Certainly the participants enjoy being able to take notes right on the iPads. They can draw on the slides. All that stuff is aggregated and sent to them post-meeting, which is a great feature to have, a great tool to have. So everything's electronic, and they don't have to carry pads of paper or binders around in their bags for the duration of the conference. But they can be assured that they'll receive that stuff in their email post-meeting. So those are two examples of what really the participants have enjoyed. as far as interacting with our technology.
Okay, so we just had a question come in, and it was actually a similar question to what I was going to follow up with. So, what tips do you give your clients on how to use, the array technology? I go to a lot of live meetings where people have, these fancy bells and whistles and gadgets, and they're not really sure how to use it. They use it just the same as they would, a standard handheld audience response device. So do you guys provide advice on, look, if you're going to spend the money, if you're going to use our system, there is a right way to use it, and there is, perhaps, a not necessarily a wrong way, but a non-ideal way to use it.
Sure. Yeah. This speaks to really how soon we can get involved with our clients really in the planning process. Some of that has to do with when they're putting together their program design. We've had a couple clients ask us, how can we leverage this technology to really make it of value to our participants as well as to us as a company and the data that we were able to capture through that. And so, certainly being able to partner with our clients and talk through, what are your objectives here, what are your needs, what are your goals, and how can we use this technology to do that. One of the beautiful things about Array is that it's pretty flexible and dynamic, so that we can tailor it to meet the unique needs of a program. Certainly, what our desire is our product not to be just a bolt-on, but to be a part of the actual program design and process, and we're there to help support that.
Okay, so do you have maybe an example or two of how it's really been used well? A client you've worked with who really understood, how the array should be used, and maybe how they kind of were able to incorporate it into their design and really get some, outstanding, data from it.
Sure. Yeah. And so as many viewers may be able to relate to, time is of the essence in a lot of these programming. I mean, there's so much content, so much data that needs to be packed into a presentation. And so some of the examples, or a particular example, is one where we've been able to do a lot of pre-survey, push a lot of content prior to the program. So during registration and dinner, do a lot of survey of the audience, help them become familiar with the platform, solicit questions, all that sort of stuff prior to the program start, so that we're able to optimize the actual time of the program better. On top of that, then they can, some other ways that we've leveraged that is in the design of key pause points within the program to say, hey, this is a great opportunity to pause, look to see what questions we have. So working with our clients to really say, this is what we found to be successful as far as engaging our audience. So if questions come in the first 15 minutes, this is a great opportunity to take a moment, pause, and respond to those questions, and it really kind of keeps the questions coming. So those are a couple examples.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think on that note, Tyler and everyone, with the Array platform, it does allow for more question types as well. Mm-hmm. So when you have that device in front of you, like a tablet or your mobile device, you can do open-ended questions, ranking questions where you can use your finger or your hand and move stuff over and around on the iPad itself. So it just makes it feel more engaging during that live event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just really quickly, one of the things what I love about our clients is they're always looking to innovate, and so sometimes we have questions of, hey, can the system do this? And so can we include images in our polling questions and things like that? And those are great things to hear from our clients, and we look for ways that we can successfully do that. And so in this case, this was something that we were able to accommodate and do. And so that's been great to hear what our clients needs. A lot of times they'll ask us, hey, what about this? And we're like, hey, we actually hadn't thought of that before. That's a great idea. Let's see how we can use our technology. And oftentimes we can find a way within our technology and our platform to really make it successful.
Okay. So how about some ways that people have used your technology for gamification, whether that's in a live setting, whether that's in the enduring setting? You talk about having to think creatively about how to use the iPad, and that's probably I would suspect one way that you guys have seen it used.
Yeah, I think once you introduce the technology, there's people that try and get the audience, teams against one another. You put up leaderboards. You show the results of why. I think everyone's competitive somewhat in nature, and so they can see how they're doing compared to one another. You're able to do this now with technology and make the games a little bit unique or specific to what the client wants. I mean, we've had a lot of different requests on, and a lot of them are after game shows, like a Wheel of Fortune kind of a thing, or who's the smartest in the room, whatever it is. But using the technology and incorporating those kind of teams and that camaraderie and everything into the actual program, you actually get a lot more data that way too. So when people are seeing how they're doing compared to one another, they're more inclined to say, okay, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to get on top of the leaderboard. So there's those kind of games, and then we have like self-paced games that you can go on and just before a program starts, you can kind of go through and answer questions and get a good needs assessment or a good baseline of the audience. Just before, like I said, before a program starts, give them like 5-10 minutes to go through a series of questions. So there's a couple ways of going about it. I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything else.
Yeah, I think those are good points, Mark. The self-paced one is kind of fun. It's doing like confidence-based questions is always good for the audience, gaining people's confidence levels before and after the event itself. So.
Now, do you find typically that learners sort of understand what is being asked of them and they're kind of willing to participate, or do you ever kind of see people would get the iPad in front of them and then they kind of say, I don't want to touch this, and I'm just gonna kind of sit here and kind of let things go?
I think it's definitely becoming a lot more accepted and part of a program, as opposed to like the early days of ARS when you would put those in the room. People didn't want to be tracked, and they, but after more and more acceptance of it, and this is part of what they're trying to do. If people understand the end goal, it's not that we're personally trying to track you. We're trying to get good data to improve the program and to improve future programming. And so if there is a need, we want to help identify that through the technology. So, there's some people that come in when they first sit down, they're like, I don't know if I want to engage with this. But like Tyler said, that's where we get involved with the program earlier on to get them engaged and start using it early. So we'll start asking questions earlier or pushing content that's relevant to them just to get them to start using it. But once they start using it, they're in there constantly putting data in.
Yeah, and part of our process, Scott, is before each live meeting takes place, typically one of our technicians will get in front of the room on the microphone and kind of explain why we're there, why the system's there, or a lot of our times our clients will have like a little 5x8 postcard maybe that says, hey, we're using the iPad platform today for these various reasons, for educational purposes only, and that makes people more at ease and more useful for it. So.
Okay. Now, how about using your the iPads and Array in patient education? I know that's something that you guys have started to look to also become involved in. I mean, we're seeing patient education becoming more and more important in the world of CME. So how has that sort of intersected with your kind of day-to-day work?
Yeah. So go ahead.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean it's certainly something that we've noticed trends towards. Certainly how we've talked about how to engage physicians, how to improve their practice, but then how do we also engage our patients and educate them, improve compliance, reduce ER visits, all that sort of stuff. And so that's certainly been a lot of the buzz and a lot of questions that we've been asked a lot lately. And so. We've explored through a few initiatives already. How can we best leverage our technology, our Array technology, in these environments, as well as just iPads in general. Just how will patients receive this technology? How will they will this actually improve engagement? At what point, at what time in the clinical setting is the most appropriate time to engage patients with this kind of content and this kind of education? And so it's been a great learning process for us to really understand kind of where patients are at, their state of mind when they're in a clinical setting, at what point is the best point to educate them. So it's certainly been a valuable thing for us as far as exploring how to best leverage that. and we've had some success so far in implementing iPads within the clinical setting to engage patients, which and also measure then the effectiveness of that education through to collect data and information that we can then report back to.
Okay, great. So we've got a couple questions that have come in, and I think ties back to what we were talking about earlier, and then we'll talk a little bit about how your outcomes and data analysis services. So here's a question that came in. So I often say that one cannot divorce the educational content from the live or digital program in which it is conveyed. Do you think you could have periodic webinars for content planners on using instructional design principles that arrays flexibility facilitate? So basically, best practices in how to use your technology.
I think that's a great question, and it's something that we are becoming more and more involved with. Is becoming a true partner involved with the instructional design aspect of the program. So, we talked about this a little bit. I know Tyler and Mark talked about it. But just there's a lot of people that don't even understand all the functionality within Array, and for us to get involved earlier on in the process and sit down with them and say, what are you trying to accomplish? Have you thought about doing this, this, and this? And here's some of the features, and here's the end result. I mean, ultimately, it's what am I going to get out of this? And how am I move the needle, and how am I going to measure that? And so if we can sit down with them and see what those goals are, and I like the idea of periodic webinars of sitting down with them or going through it. A lot of times they just got to see it. If they see the application, like, wow, maybe we can do this or this or this. And you're hearing a common theme here, which is our technology is being designed based on what people are telling us and the feedback we receive. So it's really them that kind of guide how we're building this. So that's a great question, though.
Okay. Now, do you expect technology like iPad technology, other sorts of technological opportunities to become more attractive in support of education as the new generation of clinicians come on board who obviously grew up using this sort of stuff?
Personally, I think that yes, it's going to be much more adopted by those audiences, and I think what you'll start to see is as the internet infrastructure and the connectivity improves, and more people are using devices, and it becomes more, okay, where's my iPad, as opposed to do you have one? Then it becomes like more of a bring your own device, where people show up to a room. We're setting up our network and infrastructure if we need to, or we can use the local one. But right now, I think it's more we're having to bring in and do a lot of this, bring in these devices to ensure that things stay connected and that people have devices. So as people adopt more, then it's going to become more, okay, I'll have it with me, so just get into a room and I'll connect to the content. I don't know if you guys have anything else.
No, I think that's good. I think we've seen that trend, Scott, the last couple of years as well. We launched the Array iPad technology, I think, about 3 years ago or so, and it's being adopted, continually year after year, growing for us in the live meeting setting, not only in CME but other industries as well. So I see it keep growing.
Now this is more a personal curiosity question. So in the early days, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was in a live meeting where they used an iPad, and just out of curiosity, I said, let me see how they secure these. So I stuck it in my bag, and I was out the door. I was out of the hotel, and then I came back and I said, look, I have your iPad. How do you guys secure these? So just out of curiosity, how do you guys track your iPads to make sure that they don't leave? I mean, this is not inexpensive to kind of purchase and replace.
Was that one of our meetings?
I don't think it was you guys. I think it was somebody else, though.
We're coming after you. There's a lot of things we do. First of all, we insure the iPads for every meeting, so we do not get a lot of them taken. We've gone to extremes where we say these are equipped with a low jack device, and if you take it, it will find you, even though I don't think they are. But it really is enough to, like you did there. You probably, if you did it on accident and you found it, you'd be like, oh, please don't call the cops on me. I'll come back. I'll give it back to you. So it really doesn't happen a lot. I think that's a common question, but I think as we talked about, it's becoming so much more accepted that this is part of a live program that it's like you go in and grab an ARS handset. It's usually on accident, so we really don't lose a lot of them.
Okay.
And just a note on how they're actually functionally how they're sort of locked down. I mean they're these days with Apple and their technology, they've locked it down pretty well. So if you try to reassociate or wipe it with a new ID, it has to be authorized through. There's a whole slew of things that it has to go through to be able to get that authenticated. And then there's some additional. Obviously we have serial numbers to all these, so if the serial number pops back up on a network somewhere, it's an easy means to track that sort of stuff down. So, but as Mark mentioned, that happens very infrequently, and it's great that people are pretty just understanding of, hey, this is here for this purpose, and it's been great to not see them attempt to walk out that often.
Except for Scott.
Except for you, Scott.
Okay, so let's talk a little about some of the data analytics services that you guys are also able to provide. So maybe we'll shift a little bit away from Array. So so how does educational measures become involved in the outcomes and the data analysis side of things?
Well, we're really looking to help our clients tell compelling stories with data. And as with any story, you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And your story is only as strong as your weakest link. So we hop in at a couple different points to assist our clients in collecting meaningful data that really translates to the real world. Historically, we started as you know, as a content provider. We do ARS and collect that data and put it into our educational track platform, which is a great repository and offers good aggregation tools, good statistical analysis tools, and over time that has evolved into helping our clients collect the outcomes portion of it. We boast a pretty robust set of services to allow for the highest end value to be collected, and multiple times we have had clients tell us that they're so impressed with how many participants were able to get to respond to the outcomes portion of this of their study. In addition, we do the analysis services, which when it's done by a third party, the results are generally more accepted as they are not as biased. And recently we've begun to do content review. Again, it's the framework that sets the whole puzzle moving, making sure that you're collecting the right data at the right portions to give yourself the best chance to either justify the content or to present a needs assessment for a different style of content. And that's kind of what we're focused on at the current moment.
Okay, great. So we've got about 2 or 3 minutes left. So maybe as we kind of get wrapped up, kind of curious on what's next for educational measures. How do you kind of see the company evolving? What kind of things might you add in the near or distant future to kind of help build out your portfolio of services?
I think for us, a big part of our future is building out different iterations of Array. We're right now we're actually deploying a virtual Array product so people can use that online. It really expands the reach of a one-off live program that you want to reach a lot of people that aren't physically present in the room. We're doing that a lot more. We're also doing and testing right now a licensed version of Array for people that do hundreds, if not thousands, of programs that they want to just use the technology, but they can't really afford in their budgets to bring us in there and bring our iPads in there. So we're really trying to, once again, hear what people are telling us and trying to find solutions for them. So they like the Array product. We want to find different ways to deploy it, either reaching more people or doing it in a more cost-effective manner. And then also kind of continue to build out our analysis services. Alex talked a little bit about it, but we're really getting a lot of traction with that and really helping people from beginning to end and not just, stopping at a certain point. So that's really kind of the vision.
Okay, great. Well, Derek is going to throw up your contact information up on the screen here, and then we'll go back to this, Derek. So this is the Educational Measures website. www.educationalmeasures.com. We also had somebody who wanted to see the information on how to make a donation again. So there's the website here on this slide. Derek, it's being actually blocked at the bottom by the people's faces, so it's purplestride.something.
It is, yeah. It's I'm on the site right now. It's on our website too. If you go there, you can get a link to it.
I think it's purplestride.org/Denver.
Yep.
Okay. And so finally, I want to, if folks did not see the agenda for our fall meeting that we just announced yesterday, it is now up on the CMEpalooza website. So we have 6 confirmed sessions. We still have a gold sponsor session that is available if folks are interested in that. So there's information again on our website about the fall meeting, about the agenda, about all these topics, and any other information that people might be interested in. So with that, I want to thank Mark and Alex and Tyler for joining us today for this first company spotlight, and hopefully people got a little bit out of it, learned a little bit more about sort of some trends in the CME field, and we will, I'm sure, hear from you guys again in the near future.
Great. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.